Welcome to News with a View, hosted by me, John A. Costa, an expert on nothing, which gives me the credentials to speak about things in the news. I'm a conservative-leaning podcaster. I believe in the Constitution. I believe in our laws. I believe in the process, as do many Democrats. There, I've said it. I'm a federalist. Democrats can be federalists. But if the common sense goes towards a conservative agenda, I'm for it. As long as it fits inside our Constitution. That is the important process. And when it doesn't, then you have to make laws to it. Or if you're going to have federal laws that do it, then it's got to fit inside the Constitution. If you can't make it fit inside the Constitution, or there's no expressed opinion in the Constitution that would allow a law or a situation to be federally protected, then it's up to the states to take that on. And that's fine, folks. That's the way it should be. We don't want the overreach of the federal government to be in every aspect of our lives. Very important. And what's going on now is not President Trump trying to expand on those executive rights. What President Trump is doing is defining those rights. Again, huge for any president of any political color. He is plowing the field. He is plowing the road. And Democrats, they worry about, an overreach, but then you look at what they've done in the past. Yeah, sorry, guys, you're barking up the wrong tree. I don't agree with everything the president would like to do, and I didn't agree with everything that Biden attempted to do or did. I didn't. So that, call it what you want. I'm not a libertarian. Definitely not that. But a good idea is a good idea no matter where it comes from, as long as it's practical, as long as it's doable, as long as there's a mechanism that would make it work and it fits within the confines of the Constitution. Who would have a problem with that? What person would have a problem with that? So, today is episode 66 of my podcast. That's 66 shows that I've done since the first of the year. I have hundreds of videos. And I don't categorize them. I really wish I had. And I might, after July, start putting in there exactly what the key information, so I can go back, put it into a spreadsheet, and remember when I said this. Or when someone comes to me and sends me an email and they go, no, you were wrong. You're wrong. And I go, well, show me where I'm wrong. And, I'll address it. I had one person say, well, we killed millions and millions, 4 million people in wars since 2001. And I said, well, that's not really true. I mean, probably direct combat of the enemy, like in Iraq, Iran, and other hostiles that have taken arms against the United States military or our allies, probably is up in like 1.3 million. Yeah. Now, indirect, civilians suffering, hey, that happens with war. It's not nice, but that's why the last thing you want to do is have a war. So, all right. Just want to put that out there. Today, some big news going on in Virginia. Not only is the vote to do redistricting, boy, that's going to fail big time. They're so afraid that that's going to go to the Supreme Court, and it goes down again because the Supreme Court has done that. But in the case of Virginia, where they kind of shoved it in through the door without following all the procedural prerequisites to a vote. Would they have done that? Would they have done that? Yeah, the states can set their districts up. That's not right. It might get challenged, but yeah, states have the right to do that. So, but they're in trouble with that. But Virginia Democrat, pro tem of their Senate. You ain't getting higher than that in the states, folks, other than governor. Her office was raided by the FBI, and it's being raided as we speak. It is 1:20 p.m., 1:25, and up to 10 of her offices are being raided. Now, she also has a dispensary business, and I'm pretty sure that when they talk about a corruption probe, that it's something to do with her business, not her official state actions that I know of. But she has, I think up to 10 of these dispensaries around Virginia, and medical marijuana, whatever it is that she's dispensing. It's like a vape shop. Has come under investigation. Now, her business has come under investigation for selling products that exceeded the legal requirements of, THC or something. But I don't blame her for that, because she's buying it from a vendor, and the vendor is stating of its purity and content. How many people, does Walmart test every one of their products? Yeah, no, they do not. So I'll give her slack on those prior investigations, because running a business, if she's making it, if she's actually, in the back with a cauldron, and they're figuring this out, and they have a chemist working on it, then yes, she's responsible. But if she's buying it from a third source, and you're hoping, there is very little regulation on this stuff. That's why when people, I went to this, I got my edibles, well, who's selling it? Who is saying that those things, are 10%, or today they're 80%? I just don't get it. I wouldn't do it. I don't do it because I just don't know. And it's the type of thing I'm not going to spend my money on that. I'll go to a bar, drink it up with some buddies, some fun, some of the ladies. So, she was a leading figure in pushing for the redistricting. Spangenberger, is also Spangenberger, the governor. Lucas is a huge ally of hers, and why wouldn't she? She's a Democrat, and you know, birds of the feather. I don't see anything wrong with that. And I don't even see where that's newsworthy. The only thing that I would say, as long as she did not use her office, her political statute for personal gain, I have no problem with it. And even if she said, "Yeah, well, I'm a senator, I'm this," if she's following the rules on everything, that's a big deal. But if she's doing something naughty in her business dealings, well, then that does become, start screaming Democrats. No one is above the law. No one is above the law. Well, there you go. No one is above the law. And it's being proved. Now, she has every right to defend herself, and absolutely she should defend herself. That's, that's her right. So, we're wondering what's going to happen in there. And I don't think this has been, appointed by, the FBI going out of their way to look at a Democrat. I honestly don't. For the FBI to act in the manner that they're doing, it had to have been pretty ongoing, and for them to act might have also been, hey, we want to preserve evidence. She might get wind of this, or she got wind of it, and now we're hearing from the inside, hey, get rid of this, fix that. So you don't know. And again, you don't know what you don't know. It's that simple. And if it's a business, some type of business mistake, maybe an employee doing something that she had no idea of, yet was using her office, using her business as a front for something, or maybe, if she was doing something, profiting, who knows? But we'll find out. And Comey this week, the FBI had said we got a lot more stuff on Comey than just his Instagram. I said even with Comey, where you can get in a lot of trouble is if you try to mislead a federal agent, and that's what his mistake was talking to them to begin with. I want a lawyer, even though he was the top lawyer, let's say. I want a lawyer. Yeah, let me go call my law firm Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. But I'm not saying anything without my lawyer being here. And, when the police or federal or anyone else wants to have a little chat with you, I'm going to tell you right now, they're fishing. And you can go in there and go, listen, I want to cooperate, and you say something wrong, and now, well, hold it. If you thought there was something wrong, you never said anything, and now all of a sudden you're part of that. So, when the police come knocking, as long as they don't have a warrant, or, you're not handed a subpoena. And if you're handed a subpoena, then you could have representation. I'm pretty sure, but not like for grand jury stuff. That's a little different, and that works differently. But you got called in by the police, and, hey, we just want to talk to you, show up at your front door, and now you feel uncomfortable. I don't want, my Mrs. Kravitz across the street looking at, whoa, what's going on over at John's house? The police are in there, in an unmarked car, and they're talking to him. Yeah, You know, and yeah, we'd be better if we talk in your house. No, 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 no. And at that point, do you have a warrant? Nope, not talking to you. Leave your card. Let me call a lawyer, and I'll give him your card. And that's your best bet. Honestly, that's your best bet. Because they're not there to be your friend. They're there fishing. And sometimes they didn't bait the hook for you, but now you got snagged. You got caught in that hook. And now your life is upside down. Where if you go and they go, well, okay, ask the question now. What does my client have to do with that? Well, nothing really. Okay, good, we're done here. If it's nothing, we're done here. Let's go. You try to speak to my client again, you got to call me. And that's it. And that's how you have to be. It's not hard-nosed. When you're dealing with the police, or anyone, you're not being hard-nosed. Be polite and be direct. Exercise your 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment rights. They're your rights. Forget guilt, innocence, I don't want to look bad or anything. If they're at your door, they're looking. And if you let them into your house, now they're allowed to look around. Because you gave them consent. And that's the last thing, even if you're being arrested, you say, I exercise my 4th, 5th, and 6th right. I do not give you consent to check my body, my car, my house. And they go, well, we can because, you can't, don't argue with them. Just say, I don't give you consent. Then that way, if the initial encounter is deemed to be a little, funny, yeah, we saw his hairline over here, and we thought it should be over here because it's always over here like this, but today we saw it like this, so we stopped him. Well, then, a judge might go, yeah, that's not probable cause, so and anything you found because of that, out the door. But if you said, I did not give them consent, and then that even compiles it more, and, that can never be used. So you always want to protect yourself. And it's not being, anti-police or believe me, if a policeman gets arrested, yeah, I know, it's shocking, but it does happen. The first thing they do is I want my BBA lawyer here. Because they know anything you say can and will be used against you. And they don't have to give you that. They don't have to give you Miranda. They don't have to give you that warning because they weren't there to arrest you or something, but you said something now that triggered them into an investigation, and you keep talking and you go deeper and deeper down that rabbit hole. So don't do that. Honestly, and it's not being anti-police. I love you guys. You guys are the best. But I'm not going to tell you how my day was. And I'm not going to discuss anything with you other than my name, my address, who I am, without a lawyer. And, they might even go, hey, listen, we'll bring you in. You bring me in. Am I free to go? No, you're detaining me? And another little tidbit fact, folks. When the police officer or whoever orders you out of your vehicle, you better comply. But understand this, when they order you out of your vehicle, make sure your windows are rolled up. And if you can, lock your door. Take your keys, lock the door. So they can't go in there. Now they can look around. They can press their nose up against the glass and look and go, well, I see something over there. That gives me probable cause because I didn't know if that was an umbrella handle or a gun. Now, people might go, you don't know what an umbrella handle is? Yeah, let me show you. Which one is a gun and which one is the umbrella handle? Pick. But that's the stuff where if you didn't let them in the car and they went in anyway, that could get tossed out. And you're not being rude, you're not being anything, you're just exercising your right. Now, if you had a gun on your front seat, yeah, they have a right to go into that car and start looking. Do you have another gun? And that comes down to the question of when you're stopped, do you inform them that you have a gun? I would say yes. Some lawyers say no. But if I just didn't rob a bank or used it in a crime. But again, that gun's they're gonna read the serial number off there. They're gonna hold you because now it went from a traffic stop to a possible what made it possible to turn into the next level. A gun. What's in the bag in the back seat? My underwear. And your best bet is saying, none of your business what's in that bag. Why are you looking at the bag? And then it comes down to when they do look in it and they do find something. Well, how many bags when you pull over a person on a vacation, you see suitcases, do you make them open their suitcases up? Why on this individual did it go to that step? And they could say, well, he was acting a little hinky. So you keep your hands on the steering wheel. You ask them, how do you want me to proceed? If you have to reach over and get something, officer, my license and registration is in the glove box. How would you like me to proceed? And the cop goes, he might turn around and go, well, reach into it, but I'm going to be over here. Okay. I'm not going to make any moves that make you uncomfortable. So if I'm moving too fast or I'm doing something over here, you yell that out and I'll stop immediately. And most of the time, the police are very thankful for that. They're dealing with a reasonable person. And if it's, just a traffic thing, they're going to send you on your way. It's when it goes from a traffic and they go, well, we can get a police dog here. Okay. Am I free to go? Now you're detaining me. Now the clock. He can't go, well, I haven't finished this ticket out yet. So you got to wait right here. In the meantime, they called in for a sniffer dog. Well, the clock has been running, and they only have so much time with you. If that sniffer dog, well, we're going to hold you till the sniffer dog. No, you're not. No. I'm either being detained or I'm free to go. Which one is it? Because then a whole bunch of other things now take precedent. And that's why I said I'm all about rights. Okay, let's go on. 20 minutes of that. Who wants to hear that shit from a non-lawyer? All right. Interesting stuff coming out of Washington, D.C. with the police department. 3 high-ranking police officials have been fired. You know what for? Falsifying crime statistics. Oh, my. Gee, isn't that what Trump was saying? And this isn't the federal government. This is their own internal affairs going there. Mike, I think Pilar, Tatiana Savoy, and an unnamed captain have been booted. I think up to 8 more officials are under investigation, if not more. And what they were doing was falsifying reports. They were reclassifying arrests as being nonviolent when they were, felonies, changing it so it became a misdemeanor. Now, so you know and understand, the district attorney's office could do that. They could turn around and go, I listen, it'd be a stretch to do it on a felony, because on a felony, we got a lot harder ground to cover. So let's sit down with this hombre and, maybe go to his lawyer and go, hey, listen, we're going to charge him with a misdemeanor after looking at this. And a good lawyer will say, no, you arrested him for a felony, and now, and they'll tell, well, you want to go to a felony? We'll take it to a felony. No, they don't. No, they won't. Because they know they're going to lose it. That's why they came and offered you a misdemeanor. So then you start working, and I don't want my client to have a misdemeanor. Now, he's innocent. Why should he have to accept a misdemeanor? Well, because he had a hammer in his hand while breaking a door down. Maybe misdemeanor won't be that bad. So, three lawyers, three officers, and these are high-ranking people. These aren't just, beat cops. Now, the interesting thing in, that whole thing of, again, it was Democrats lying, Joe Biden. Well, Washington's as safe as can be. Right? Now, you could say, well, if he was reading the statistical reports that the people were monkeying with, well, yeah, he'd look at it and go, yeah, crime, what are you talking about? Crime rate's down. I got the paper right in front of me. So, again, but these were Democrats in Washington feeding the big guy lies. And no one on the big guy side, they saw what was going on. They knew what, that you couldn't walk out to your car without being threatened in Washington. And they knew that it was a bold-faced lie, and yet they went with it. The D.C. Council prevents the police from using their own video camera while writing their reports. So what does this mean? You have a situation and you go, I didn't know if it was 2:15 or 2:35. I'm going to be right about that. Mostly my people that I take this live to. I'll try to edit that out. Had an important phone call that I had to take. It was mandatory. It was when I get the call and I know what that call is, I got to answer. All right. So the police, as I was saying in D.C., they're not allowed to use their camera video of an arrest while writing their report. So that's done. The D.C. Council mandated that. That's done so that if you left something out, if you put in the wrong time, if they ask you, what exact time did this happen? On your report, you said it was 2:15. Well, my client was over here at 2:15. Well, it could have been 2:10, but I know it was in this range. Which one was it? 2:10 or 2:15? You said 2:15 on your report. Are you saying your report's wrong? It's inaccurate? Do you want to fix it up and, we'll come back here another day? Because we're prepared to go to court right now, and if your information isn't correct, well, Your Honor. And that's exactly what it's done for. Now, there's pros and cons to that. I could understand on the defense side going, hey, we're going to ask you questions, but wasn't it all these people screaming that, the camera will say everything, Well, it does. My memory of the event that happened, 2 years ago. Yeah, I got my notes and everything, but yeah, that's what I wrote down. I go, might have been 210, not 215, but I couldn't reference it back to anything. So that's done to give a leg up on a defendant. And the whole police thing, we got to defund, that's all bullshit. All baloney. And even people in these neighborhoods go, no, we like the police coming in here. We don't like the police, just stopping people nilly-willy. But, why do they always stop, black people? Well, it's a black neighborhood. Who else are we going to stop? You don't hear anyone going in my area, well, they're just stopping white people. Well, you make up the majority, so of course I'm going to be stopping more white people. And if the majority are black, of course I will be stopping more black people. It's not profiling. It's statistics. Let's take out the census report then, right? So what's going on there in D.C. is just again proving what President Trump had said from the beginning. Crime was a problem, and the people in charge were lying. And he stepped in. He stepped in. And just like the whole thing with ICE, yeah, ICE is in there being aggressive because you left them no choice. We don't know who these people are because you didn't allow them to be recorded. You didn't stop people and say we're going to, hey, we're going to, send them into detention. You just stopped them and released them. So, Democrats are not being truthful. And they're getting hammered in all these hearings. They are being made to look like fools. Rosa DeLauro, again, out of Connecticut, she is as stupid as they come. Senator Murphy, stupid as they come. They pick the wrong arguments because they have no other thing to go to. They have to go towards, the only thing they have is low-hanging fruit to pick. The police, ICE, these poor brown people. Come on, stop it. They're criminals. And they go, well, you said you were only going to go after the high-profile. Well, we don't know who they are, so we have to stop everyone. Because that's the way you made it. So we have to stop people and find them out. And because, all right, these aren't the, people you're looking for, These aren't the androids you're looking for. So when they stop these people and they go, oh, you're not even on a list here of who we're looking for or who's here under TPS or anything else. Who are you? And then they, well, were you born in America? No. Well, when did you immigrate to America? Did you go, what did you come through Texas? Did you come through California? Did you come through Florida? Did you come through New York? Did you come through Washington? 17 stations. Which one did you come? We did. Well, then you're here illegally, and as such, under civil law, I have to detain you. And yeah, they're not Bonnie and Clyde, but they're also here illegally. And just because they've had children here doesn't anchor them. And you go, oh, you're going to separate them from the... No, you have every right to take your kids with you. Well, they're citizens. Great. When they're 18, they can come back. Take them with you. Well, you don't want them. Give them to the state. But you are going. What is so hard for people to recognize that fact? Well, they're going to separate families. No, they're not. I want my family to come with me. Hey, instead of 2 seats on that flight, I need 5. All right, tomorrow. Hey, we got you on a flight tomorrow. You and your whole family. It's been some kind of wonderful. There you go. What is so hard is it to say, not separating up families. You're removing them from the United States. But the children are citizens. Well, could be. You know. You could be right. But the parents aren't. Parents have to go. Now, you want to leave your children here? Leave your children here. You want to bring them, take them with you? We'll help you with that too. This is not Sophie's choice here. And they're making it look like, they're forcing them. It's not. It's not. So, now Rosa De La Rosa, again, looked foolish. She was at what's called a shadow hearing. And it's perfectly legit. There's nothing wrong with that. Usually the minority people in power are allowed to have these shadow meetings with their constituents in an official manner and discuss things. And she discussed, the whole DHS and everything. And then she got, because they've lost that now. That's gone. You'll never hear them talk about that now. It's another one we lost, fellas. And now it will be on the SAVE Act. And remember, we know what the SAVE Act is. That's, voting and voter ID. And she's screaming and yelling, this is an affront to democracy. No, it's not. No, it is not an affront to democracy. Protecting our voter integrity is the most important thing in a republic that has democratic values. But she doesn't say that. She says this is to keep people from voting. Who? Who does it keep from voting? They've been people that, if you get married and you say, and they did, they went out there and looked and they go, oh no, that doesn't even count. That was a silly analogy to make. Because married people vote all the time. Married women vote all the time. It's not you could show a marriage license, you could show a lot of things, and this is about people that shouldn't be voting ending up voting. And in some cities, all you have to do is be a resident and you're allowed to vote. That shouldn't be allowed, folks. Only citizens should vote. And that is just simple preservation. That's the same reason we have borders. You know, the Democrats cried about the Ukrainian border and Russia violating their border. What about our borders? What about 30 million people at our borders that came across? And no one did anything. And this is the Democratic lie. And this is what's going to stomp them in the election. Now, speaking about the election, this false democracy. Did you have democracy when Biden was saying you must get your shot or you're going to die in the winter and no one's going to care about you? People that don't get the shot, they're all going to die in the winter. And if you don't get the shot, you can't go to work. And if you don't get the shot, you can't go see a ball game. And if you don't get the shot, you can't ride a subway. And you have to have a card. And the people that don't have to wear something on their shirt to say that they didn't, that was the next thing. A needle with a no through it, or, a hypodermic with a no through it. No one can go in this store because the owner didn't get a shot. You want to talk about who acted more like Nazis? I'm going to say it was the Democrats. Call on your neighbor. Make the phone call. You see family getting together, call the police. You want to talk about Nazis? The effing Democrats. Oh, we were doing that to protect you. Really? Because the masks now didn't do anything. The COVID shot was, at best, somewhat effective. Maybe not. They still don't know, and they're still not releasing the data. Same amount of people that got the shot, that didn't get the shot, statistically got COVID. Oh, well, they were doing better. No, that's not true either. So when I hear these people all talking about democracy, biggest bulldinky. Because we don't have a democracy here. We have a republic with democratic processes. That's it, folks. Because, as I say, and I get people that fight with me online, and there's a few of them that do it, democracy isn't mob rule. Democracy, in its raw form, is mob rule. I got 50 people out here right now. I take a vote, we hang them. 45 say yes. 5 say no. Get the rope, I'll find a tree. That's democracy. All right? That's democracy. The elections coming up. You now have Democrats saying we're in trouble. And they're finally starting to look at that and going, we're in trouble. Weeks ago, we're going to win. We're going to take everything. And now you're having people look at the numbers and going, yeah, no, people are really unhappy with the Democrats still. Well, look at Trump. He started a war. Look at this. America understood Iran. We know what was going on. And it should have happened 47 years ago. But now it didn't. And the majority of the people in office at the time were Democrats. They didn't. The Republicans didn't. Trump did. And let me tell you, there's people all around the world going, you know, finish the job. Get rid of these people. They're bad people. They're bad for us. They're bad for you. So I'm pretty happy that people are upset. And of course, hey, listen, do you think I like paying $4.19 a gallon when I was paying $2.19 a gallon? You know, 2 months ago? Do you think I'm happy about that? I'm not. But I understand why. When we started paying $5 a gallon for gas under Biden for a war that he started, that should never have happened, because he did not reach out to Putin and go, we know what they're screaming over here about, you know, the Ukraine being given entry into NATO. Hey, not going to happen. We have our differences. That's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you that right now. The United States stance is Ukraine doesn't get into NATO. They can cry, and we can send stuff to them from NATO countries. Nothing stopping us from doing that. But we're not going to put offensive weaponry into the Ukraine. That is not what we want to do. We have enough of offensive weapons surrounding you that the Ukraine would just cost us more money in the end to update and secure. So we're not interested in that. You know, whether I hit you in 32 seconds or 18 seconds, I don't know if there's going to be much of a difference. You know. So, and the same thing with you, whether you hit us in 18 seconds or 40 seconds. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we all know what the outcome is. So, we don't need to do the math. I don't need a slide rule. I don't need a TI calculator. I don't need any of that. But he didn't do that. He did brinkmanship, and they knew that this guy, that Biden, was weak and feeble, and they went in, and once, you know, Joe was now committed because he was stupid. And we knew why he was stupid. Trump is not stupid, nor is he reckless. You don't stay in business being reckless, folks. He's just not a reckless person. He's calculative, but he's not reckless. So, I'm going to say that everything's going to be red in 2026 November. And the Democrats are going to be sucking wind for another 2 years. And they could sit there and we're going to impeach the president. We're going to put articles of impeachment. America is so fed up with that nonsense. That's all you can do? That's what you're going to do. You have that moron Raskin with Green running around. We haven't heard anything from Waters in a while. She's probably, you know, making sure that every piece of paper that is questionable is being burned right now, you know, or shredded. Anti-Maxine. And you have the huge win in Indiana. I mean, that's just the beginning. Just the beginning. You're seeing Pritzker running a little scared now. These people aren't as confident as they were 6 weeks ago. So I see a huge win for the Republicans come November. I actually see a Republican governor in New York. So, all right, I'm going to finish this up. There's about, on the live feed, there's going to be about a 9-minute gap. I can tell you exactly what that gap is. But I'm going to fix that as soon as I can. So let me just see. Details on phone calls. A 7-minute gap in my video, but I will fix that. So that won't be a problem. All right, everyone. Thank you. As always, please leave comments, subscribe, like, hate, whatever. Leave a comment is the best thing you can do. Even from those that say horrible things about me. And not Bob. Not Bob from New York. So, I'm getting, for some reason, I'm getting a lot of hate mail from England. So, they're true cowards across the pond. And I will always be with them, and we'll always help them, and they'll help us, and but Germany, yeah, screw you. Enough with your, we don't need you. Should pull another 5,000 troops out of there. How many of those troops spend money on a weekend? Yeah, well, you might have 10, 20,000 less. How do you like that, Chancellor? All right, please give to a charity if you can. Check the charity out. Don't become a victim helping a victim. It's not what you want. If you're not interested in that, please think about giving to a local food bank. They can always use your help. They could also use monetary funds to address the situation directly in front of them. And it helps your community. Say a prayer. Prayer does work no matter what a Democrat might tell you. And with that, I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to end this. I'm going to get this out the door as quickly as I can because I've been running late. A lot of things going on, and, there's still a lot of unknowns out there. A lot of unknowns. Iran is still an unknown. Don't know which way the president's going to go with it. Not a fan of him, screaming, we're going to bomb them, and then, not. I don't like that. But it, I don't know. All it does is drive the gas prices up, and, we'll see what happens. All right, everyone. Thank you as I fade to